Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin and we are looking at Rivian once again. Now, today Rivian didn't have one of its remarkable breakout days, but it was up 2.14%, which is nice to see. And if we look here at the price, this is the price of Friday, this is the price of Monday the 24th, you can see that the price has now essentially settled in like the mid to high 25s. And what's nice is that now it looks like the price we haven't really moved that much recently, but the price is starting to settle into where it's been because it's been going sideways for a while. It looks like since essentially the very beginning of July. So what we can see here is now with green lettering or green background with black lettering, that means that we're right in the standard deviation of where this should be, right in the middle of the range. We can see we've still got a price to rise on our future path. We can see we're positive on the 1 day, 5 day, 15 day, 1 month, 6 month, and 3 month. That's positive. We got a go long in the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. We look here at the overall trend. We are bullish on the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. That's incredible. We're going to go ahead and look at the rolling sentiment. The one thing here is that we are starting to get a falling bear. I know that means nothing to you. I built this for myself. Again, not financial advice. But what I can tell is that I see that essentially the overbought conditions, they're starting to wring themselves out of what the type of move that we've seen in Rivian. Because this move right here, the move that you got at the end of July or end of June into the beginning of July, needed to be consolidated because it was such a large move from such a low level. You're talking it was down around $13 or $14. We're chilling in the mid 20s. So this thing is up nearly 100% in little over a month. I mean, yeah, again, it's up 90% in 1 month. It's up 114% in 3 months. It just needs to consolidate the gains. But what I'm seeing is very, very positive long term. I'm going to go ahead and look at my signals just to see. We don't see any signals because we've essentially hit like what is a dead zone because the move has been so dramatic. Right, you did get the buy signals back here when it was $16 on the 29th of June, but it needs time to reset, which is why you don't see any negative ones. You don't see any falling peaks or any big bulls or any small bulls. Looks like we have our first key 3 positive, which is nice to see. We'll want to monitor that to see if it gets better and better for possibly an explosive move that'll be coming up in the future. The chart looks great. Obviously, when we look at the overall daily sentiment indicators, the one thing is that this has essentially been high and rising. There's been no real break in the momentum, so it is one of those things where you're like, okay. So things can't go up forever. It has hit a high right on the 10th. It looks like it's 68%, which no joke that it was like right there. So that was the peak of the run until we started to consolidate and it started to come down. It is now below the 15-day moving average. I mean, the market wants to be in balance, so 50% would not even be unusual for it to make it back there. We can see that the volume really hasn't broken back above that 15-day moving average in quite a while. I mean, I don't even consider these to be big enough breaks to really pay attention to. I mean, the average is rising, but that's because the volume breakouts at the beginning of the month were so insane that we want to see volume kind of dry up for a little bit, price to go sideways, and then get a big move upwards with volume returning. Nothing to see here. Rivian, really what it is, it's essentially just consolidating and staying on a bunch of radars because it had a slightly positive day today, but it hasn't really done much in probably about 2 weeks. We can see the volume here, or the volatility here. The volatility continues to break out. The correlation continues to stay high. The correlation looks like it's about to plateau or fall. I would actually love to see the backside of the hill like you see here back in February and March, or March and April, the backside of the hill, and then you'd actually like to see the blue bars go negative as well. Because if it's falling and the bars are negative, then that's what it's going to tell you is that the price is going to go up. Or sideways, but it's not going to do with a lot of conviction because the volatility is falling and the correlation is also not there. Now we look at the overall trade range. What we would have expected, same thing I probably said in the video I made weeks ago about Rivian, probably 2 weeks ago, which is that when you get an explosion of a trade range like this, essentially what you're looking for is time. You're looking for time to come back to allow the levels to kind of come back to each other because you like when there's a breakout when it's consolidated like that and when the volatility is actually really low. Because back here was when the breakout happened. This is when the volatility was really low, and that signals that the type of move you're going to get is going to be very powerful and very aggressive. We don't have that set up right now, so we just have to give it time. This thing probably won't even be ready to be able to move until maybe the middle of August. You could still get some, like, you can make $30 easily, but if you're thinking about when the move is going to be like 50 or 60 or even higher, you really need the volatility to reset because you just need that fat pitch, just like Warren Buffett always says. You got to be patient. You got to keep your mind above you, or you got to keep your mind with you, and you got to be waiting for when your fat pitch comes and just swing for the fences. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And you know what you should do? Subscribe to the New Height newsletter. We send you 25 stocks breaking out for free every single Sunday. Get yourself some. Bootlegmacro.beehive.com/subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.